I think one of the funniest movies that you and I could watch is all the mistakes I've made in sales, whether it's sales calls I've made that ended so bad because it was so embarrassing, or a cold call, or a door knocking, or a presentation I gave, or a speech I gave. I have some of the most embarrassing stories in sales because I made so many mistakes in sales. So today's video is going to be 10 common mistakes people make in sales. And hopefully from these mistakes, you'll stop making these mistakes so you can increase your commissions so you can make more money and grow your business to the next level. By the way, if you got any questions, thoughts, comments about anything I say, comment on the bottom. And if you haven't yet subscribed, click on the subscribe button as well to get future videos every time they come out, and join notification squad so you're one of the first to get the videos. Okay, let's get right into it. Number one's a big one. Not qualifying your customers. Let me explain. Imagine if I'm a realtor, okay? And I am showing you a home, and you said you want to see $1 million home, and we go on the road together, and I take you to this community, and I'll show you all these homes. This house right here is $1.5 million. It's 5-bedroom, 4-bath, swimming pool, cul-de-sac, the community. I do all this research, schooling, private school, because I know your kids' school, how old they are. All this research I do, but I don't ask you to qualifying questions, which is what? 20% down payment on $1 million home is $200,000. Do you have $200,000 in savings? I do. Do you have a pre-approved letter from the bank to be approved for $1 million loan? I don't. Why am I showing you a home? So let's find out what you can get approved for. I can get approved for $600,000. Why don't we focus on that? Because what's the point of selling you $1 million home? Because you can't afford it. The bank's not going to give you the loan. So what's your plans for it? Qualifying. Not enough qualifying questions. It is so important to spend time asking the proper qualifying questions. It takes you 1 hour presentation, let's just say, to 10 minutes because immediately you know that's not going to work out. By the way, qualifying questions works in every aspect of your life. Dating, business, health, everything. Early on you figure it out, then you move on. Number 2, calculating commissions too early. I don't know how many times I would have my sales guys, you know, there's a moment, this happens to all of us. You're sitting there with the client's presenting, or you're on the phone, or you're sitting at a presentation, and they're telling you, you know, we're looking at investing this much money. We want to put this much of a marketing dollars, or we want to buy this big of a, you know, stock or mutual fund or an insurance or real estate or whatever it is. And you're sitting there giving you the number, and you zone out for a second. You're like gone. Because all you're doing is calculating commissions. And all you want, man, this is $17,000 check, $3,000 check. Do you realize what that pays for me? Then you come back, you're so nervous because you realize how big the commission check could be with the sale that you lose the check because the person is going to feel that you start treating them differently. Instead of calculate commissions when it hits your checking account. Until then, don't calculate your commissions. Okay, number 3, not pushing the envelope. I think sometimes we're afraid of asking the tough questions. By the way, we're generally afraid of asking the tough questions from our parents, in a relationship, in a place we work, in our family, in a client sales presentation. Asking the tough questions is not just in sales. People are afraid of asking the tough questions in life. I had a guy, good friend of mine, he and his girl get married. He was crazy about this girl. They get married. They're dating 2 years. They get married. After they get married, he wants to have kids. She says, I don't want to have any kids. He says, what are you talking about? That's what you're supposed to do after you get married. She says, who says? I don't want to have any kids. I didn't know that. You never asked. Who's at fault? She is? No, he didn't ask. Why don't you qualify that question? Hey, do you want to have kids? I don't ever want to have kids. It's too tough. Then you don't have to fight for 5-10 years and then possibly having a divorce. Asking the questions early, sales, life, every area. Very big mistake people make. Number 4, bash competition. I think it's very common, unfortunately, that people bash competition. For me, I would much rather take a different approach to it. I would much rather find out what's important to you and find out about exactly all my competitors around me on what they do and tell you, look, here's what we do, here's what they do, what's important to you. Rather than saying, well, you know, that guy that runs it, man, he's a shyster. You know, this other guy here, he's this. And by the way, anytime, when you sell by bashing competition, the buyer, if they're smart, the buyer is sitting there saying, why are you bashing them so much? Maybe you're intimidated by them. Bashing competition is one of the biggest signs of weaknesses in a sales presentation any amateur salesman can make. There's no reason to do that. Look, I respect all my competition. They're obviously been in business for 22 years for a reason. They know what they're doing. But let me tell you what our value proposition is. They do this, our focus is here. Okay? And if you've asked the questions early on from them, you know what matters to them is what you provide. Then you close the deal. Number 5, overpromise. Big mistake, happens in sales all the time. Oh, I can get this for you. I can get that for you. By the way, just recently, I lost a sale to a competitor, okay? I lost the sale to a competitor. But let me tell you how I lost the sale to the competitor. The guy I spoke to who sat right here in that chair that I lost the sale to, guess what? The place he went to a place that everything was overpromised. And I know the world. That can't be promised. I know the world. I've had meetings with the person that we lost business to. It can't be promised. So I'm very confident because I know what we can promise. And when there's one disappointment on this end that cannot be delivered and I can deliver, that person, I have their business because I'm going to follow up. In my career, I can't tell you how many times I didn't close the first time because I was not willing to overpromise. Another person did that overpromise. They disappointed. That person came back to me. Stick to the sale. Don't try to be able to sell at all costs by overpromising the world, because that's how you end up getting somebody being fully disappointed in you. Obviously, celebrating too early, it kind of goes similar to calculating your commissions, but this is just calculating commissions because you're in the appointment. This is your left appointment. You've closed the deal, but you're already celebrating too early. You're not going to, the only time it counts, money's in the account, cooling off period is done, then it's your money. Number 7, disagree. Too many disagreements. In sales, you want to find areas of agreement, okay? Areas of agreement. Not constantly, I disagree. I disagree, we're better than them. I disagree, you don't know what they did. I disagree, I disagree, I disagree. Disagree is a way of telling the other person they're not that smart, okay? In a sales presentation. Now, this doesn't mean in a relationship or something like that, you're saying that here's why, because there's already social capital. So for a relationship, you've been with somebody for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or you've been working with somebody for 3, 6, 7, 8, 12 months. Listen, I don't know if I agree with that. I think this is the right approach. But if it's a person you're selling for the first time, what are you doing disagreeing with them? You can disagree with them later on. For instance, if I'm running I'm a financial advisor at Morgan Merrill and I'm a stockbroker. The first time, I'm just trying to get the client to be willing to do some business with me so they can see how well of a broker I am, right? Once the money comes in, then he and me, Mr. Johnson and I have a relationship together because he's got $7 million. And I've only gotten $300,000 of it so far. If I do him right, he's going to give me the other $2 million and maybe eventually $4 million. I'm not going to get the whole $7 million. So, and then I say, Bob, I don't know if I fully agree with that philosophy because, based on what you've told me, you told me that this is what matters to you. And sometimes if you just wanted to go with a junk bond because you think that the returns on the interest is going to be 14% and you like that, you got to know the history of this company. And then, you know what, you're right, based on what you said. So I think, maybe somebody says something. Sometimes we all get excited about a junk bond. My recommendation to you would be But there's a way of presenting that versus flat out saying I disagree. Number 8, not leading a client. I think too many salespeople don't lead clients. It's your job to lead the client to a decision. This doesn't mean, doesn't that kind of mean you're manipulating a person? No, you're leading them to a decision. What's a decision? The decision based on the information you've gathered, that's the best decision for them. You're the doctor. You ask the information, then you make the delivery on the recommendation you're making to them, right? So I gather information. Does this hurt? No. Does that hurt? No. Does this hurt? No. Can you stand up, please? Can you go to the bathroom, pee in this cup? Let's take this blood. Okay, look over here. Do this. Go like this. Go like that. Okay, based on this, then you ask questions. When you wake up in the morning, when you get the most headache, when you do this, is this? Do you want to get this? Do you want to get that? And then you're leading them. Here's what my recommendation is, ... And then you close. Here's what we need to do. Rehab. We need to come back here and you make the same exact thing, but you're leading them. Instead of just leaving it open for them to make a decision, you're leading them, you're not going to get a close because, let me think about it, I'll get back to you. A pro is going to lead them to a close or a choice to be made. Number 9, 80-20. Let me tell you what I mean by 80-20. Yesterday, a guy came here, nice guy. I remember that guy that came here yesterday. Would you call him a sweetheart? I think sweetheart, nice guy, right? He came here. Okay, watch what happened when he came here. He is coming here to interview for a podcast. Good guy, marketer, love what he has. Do you realize, Jessica, I'll ask you the question, okay? From the first 20 minutes when he came in, during that 20 minutes, what percentage of the minutes did I talk? Honestly, maybe 2 minutes. Did you notice that? I may have spoken for 2 minutes. He spoke for 18 minutes. And that's if I spoke for 2 minutes. He spoke for 18 minutes. Do you know what it tells me? Here's what it tells me. He came here, he got too excited, rather than asking me questions to get information that possibly we can do business with him or a future relationship. He oversold himself. He was trying too hard. And I'm a pro, I've been in this business for a while. You don't need to try too hard with me if you know what you're doing, rather than asking questions. So tell me about the business. So how did you guys set this up? So it was too much coming this way. In sales, by the way, I've done that many, many times. 80-20. They speak 80% of the time, you speak 20% of the time. If they're speaking 80% of the time and you're 20, guess who's gathering information? You are. And the more information you gather, the better you can present. If you're speaking 80% of the time, what kind of information are you gathering from them? Nothing. So you can't lead them. You lead them by asking proper questions. Then you'll lead them. That's the 80-20 rule of asking questions. And last but not least is not knowing their options. Let me explain what I mean by not knowing their options. So is there any other person you're working with right now? Yeah, we're also looking at XYZ. And what are you happy about them with? You know, I like the fact that they do ... Oh, and is that important to you? It is. Okay, is there anybody else you're looking at? I'm not. Okay, and are you the final decision maker? It's me and my husband. Okay, when can we schedule this so your husband's also involved, right? So I know already options-wise, they're looking at one other guy. They like this from the other guy, and the husband's the decision maker. So I got to be there because the ticket item's a bigger ticket item. Sometimes the smaller ticket item, you don't need a husband or a spouse to be there. But if the ticket item's a bigger ticket item, you ain't going to sell a house if a husband and wife is married without the wife's decision. You're not going to just go show home to one of the people without the other person being there. All the decision makers who influence the options need to be there, and you need to know all their options. Yeah, here's what we're looking at. We also looked at Ford right now. So you're looking at buying an SUV. We're looking at buying an SUV. Is there any other thing you're looking at outside of the Expedition? Yeah, we also looked at the Denali. What did you like about the Denali? I like that. I like this. What else did you like about the Denali? I like the fact that GMC is running a special right now of 0 down with no interest for 12 months. What was the number when they ran it for you? They ran the number for around 728 or 720. So you'd like to get a payment structure around that number? Yeah. Is there any specific things that Denali had that you like that you definitely want to have with another car? I looked at this. Okay, great. Let me tell you about Expedition here. Okay, I know the options. I'm dealing with Denali, GMC. If I'm a real good salesman, Ford, I know exactly what Denali does. And I know exactly the products that we offer that are better than theirs. I asked the question, decision makers there with the husband and the wife, let's go look at the Expedition together. But if you don't know their options, you are just wasting your own time because you have not asked the qualifying question. You know, we're just here to shop. We're just here to look at this. Options. What are their options? Then you make the close. So anyways, by the way, again, sales, so many of you are asking me saying, Pat, can you just make a sales course and put it online and maybe it's a 10-hour course? I just haven't had the time to do it. I've been on the road. I'll think about doing it before the end of the year. I may consider doing it. I'll put something online because there's so many things here with the sales side. But this is just one of them. There's a lot of mistakes you are going to make. Every time you do, come back and figure out a way to adapt and why didn't I close this deal? Or what could I have done to do a better job with this deal? But these are just 10 of the mistakes. There are a lot more mistakes you can make. These are just 10 of the mistakes you can make as a salesperson. So hopefully now when you stop doing this, you'll make yourself more money. By the way, questions, thoughts, comments, comment on the bottom. If you haven't yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? Click on the sub button. We want to get this channel to 1 million and we need your help. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.